Hi, everyone. Welcome to our first interview, Sheyn. Sorry, is it okay if I call you Sheyn?
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So first of all, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Sheyn. I currently graduated from BC, and right now I'm working with kids with autism.
Oh, wonderful. How do you like that?
Oh, it's fantastic job, very rewarding.
Oh, no kidding. It sounds
Yeah.
like it. And so we're going to focus a little bit more on your mental health journey
Mhm.
here today. And so can you tell us how you began your mental health journey?
Yeah. So my mental health journey started when my family and I immigrated to Canada, and
Okay.
I was 10 years old when I immigrated, and we always thought my parents worked really hard so that we could work to have a better life here in Canada. So they worked really hard to try to get us out. And we were born in Mauritius, which is an island near Madagascar. So they worked really hard to get us out of the island and into like Canada so that we could have a better life and a better career ahead of us and bigger opportunities in our lives. Um, but when we immigrate to Canada, it gets really lonely because you're away from your extended family. You're away from like, and you don't have anyone here. So when we first came to Canada, it was pretty hard because even when we went to school, we didn't go to a school. We went to a private school, and we went to a private school that was predominantly Caucasian or like that, and like people such as myself, like there was no one else in that school that looked like us. So it felt a bit isolating, and it felt a bit lonely. So throughout that, and it that's when my mental health personally started taking a little bit of a toll. And something that like people don't realize about mental health is that like it doesn't necessarily like, oh, like once you're 16, that's when people start feeling mental health. It can start at an earlier age, but people just don't realize it. So I didn't really realize that like that had an effect on me until when I was 13 or 14, when I was like, wow, like this kind of loneliness feeling kind of started happening at an earlier age. And even going and then moving to a public school in elementary and into high school, like it's kind of like that thing when you're starting to get bullied and you're starting to feel lonely, and you're starting to feel like, oh, like you miss your extended family, and like you have all these experiences. So it kind of takes a toll on you a little bit, and these kind of not so much memories, but so much as these experiences, they kind of start hitting you further as you go along and you start experiencing more mental health. So that's where it kind of started for me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I can't
Yeah.
even imagine moving that far at that young of an age.
Yeah, it was very stressful. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And you're
Yeah.
not only experiencing another culture, but moving away from your family. And like, yeah, I can't even imagine. That's really brave of your family to go
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh yeah, no.
Um, and so, with all of that,
Mhm.
can you share a little bit about what was most helpful in helping you through that mental wellness journey?
Yeah. Um, One of the things was experiences. I guess like when you get older, you start realizing that like, oh, like this is not normal. Like, oh, that like people are better, and like that people are nicer, and like you start meeting good people in your life. And that tell you like, oh, like you're not supposed to be getting bullied. You're not supposed to be feeling sad or lonely. So like again, like even like coming from a different country, right? Like the culture shocks and stuff, and having to adapt to different cultures was very difficult. So like having other people around you to help you through that is really helpful. Um, so one of the things that like really helped was a lot of my friends, they kind of not only taught me of Canadian culture, but they kind of embraced my own cultures as well. So like they helped me kind of realize that like it's okay to embrace your culture, but like while also embracing the culture, that the varieties of culture that like Canada has. So having friends to help me through that, and having friends to help me kind of realize that it's okay like to be me, and it's okay to have mental health issues. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to, especially guys, right? Because like guys and mental health, that is one of the like big things that aren't talked about enough. Because like it's almost as if like guys shouldn't suffer from mental health, but like and that stigma is really brutal. But like the friends that I had and I supported, like we all kind of went through the same similar things. So it really helped us kind of get stronger and deal with it together. So yeah, that's what really helped me. It's that like the people surrounding me that not only went through the same things as me, but like spoke life into me, and spoke so much encouragement into my life.
Yeah, I mean, that just adds a whole nother layer of finding your new identity in a new culture
Yeah.
while trying to hold on to that other part that is so significant to
Hmm.
you. That's your other culture. And
Hmm.
like that adds a whole new element
Yeah.
to exploring that mental health journey.
Hmm.
So, I mean, really hands up to you
Thank you.
for really
Yeah.
exploring that. And like, it's so great that you had those friends to help you through
Hmm.
that. Um, and so you kind of shared a little bit about this, about being a male in the
Yeah.
realm of mental health and kind of the stigma around that. But if you feel comfortable, could you share a little bit more about how you felt stigmatized for your mental health and kind of how you've overcome that or how you're
Yeah.
learning to overcome that?
Yeah. So like one, I think a media first played a really big part of it. It's almost as if like um, it's cool to see the amazing like mental health resources that women are starting to have. The it's and like how like women are encouraged to speak up, and like that's really awesome. But one of the things that I think as guys is because like we don't have those resources. We feel as if that like we shouldn't be feeling those things. And like again, there's the stigma around guys that we're all sports, we're all this, like manliness, emotions aren't a thing. um, so it's almost as if like the media even portrays kind of guys that way, right? Like as like these hot shot like athletes, and like even when celebrity starts talking about their emotions, it's almost as if they're being made fun of rather than being encouraged. um and like that kind of plays a toll in like for guys, and especially because like we're the kind of guys that said like, oh, for example, if a guy and a girl were to break up, like the expectation is, oh, a girl can like talk about her feelings and eat ice cream. A guy, like, no, like you have to move on and like still hang out with your friends and do all these things. Like you don't got the time, you don't get the time to talk about your emotions. You don't get the time to talk things out. And I think that's what like kind of like that kind of made it more difficult for us to like talk about like because we like even with our friends, it's like I think we all needed it, but it's like if one person does it, it's kind of like, oh, like it's weird sort of thing. And it was difficult. And one thing that like that I think helped us overcome that was like my friends, especially my friends at church. And I think like the church community that I had, we like they're decided like they're more open to it. Like they're like it's really important that we do talk about our emotions and feelings, whether you're a guy or a girl. And because guys has feeling too, like guys and girls are different, but the way they process emotions, the way that they like in our brains and our nervous system, it's the same way, right? And like we all like have mental pain. We all have mental health issues, and like one of the biggest ways is to put into the light, because once it's into the light, that's when you can find a solution to it, right? So like talking about it is one of the biggest important things, right? Like therapy, counseling. Um, so yeah, like I guess it's like breaking the stigma. It's like going against the culture or going counterculture. Like that's one of the big things that like my friends and my community has. Like we're not kind of afraid to talk about our mental health, and like studying mental health in university, studying psychology. You know how important it is to talk things out, and so it's like it's almost as if like you realize, okay, well, like like culture has it wrong here, like society has it all wrong here, and that like we need to do a better job in that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such an important point. And
Mhm.
you only kind of know about and are aware of that stigma if
Mhm.
you're aware of it, which is kind
Yeah,
of a
exactly.
problem, right?
Yeah.
Like if you learn about
Yeah.
it, you kind of know that there's this
Mhm.
the stigma surrounding that, specifically to like guys like yourself. Um, but if you don't know about it, then you're kind of just like a victim of that stigma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So no, like, I mean, your voice is so important in starting to break that stigma and sharing
Thank
your
you.
experiences today.
Thank you.
And so you kind of touched on this maybe a little bit, but to dive a little bit more into how us as a society or culture can move past that stigma surrounding mental health and maybe specifically within your community or within your gender profile and like encourage that open dialogue and mental well-being. What do you think we can do?
Yeah. I think like the first and most important thing is like you can't break a whole stigma um without starting with yourself. Like it's like it starts with you. Like I think the most important thing to remember is like you are responsible for your mental health and you're responsible for dealing with it. And so like like if society says like, hey, like this is frowned upon, like the first thing you need to do is like, no, like this is my mental health and it's more important what other people think. And so it starts with that, and it starts with people realizing that their mental health matters more what other people think of them. And if people can do that, if people can realize that like talking about your feelings helps them, and it's an like an objective thing, and I think that will in itself kind of break the stigma. But other than that, it's promoting it, like promoting your stories, promoting like how guys who have dealt with mental health like and have grown from it, how they dealt with it. And if people hear like my friends talk about it all the time to their friends, and it's like wow, they're like, oh wow, counseling did really help you. And it's like, yeah, counseling helps everyone, like it's very important, there's a reason why it's there, and there's reasons why it's for guys too. So it's like those kind of things, and it's like, and they're like, oh, like maybe I should try it. And that kind of thing, it starts like it starts small, right? Like you can't break a whole stigma in a year, you can't break a whole stigma in a day, like it's gonna happen over time. But it starts small, and it starts with your friends and your community. It starts with like you taking care of yourself first, and like and once you've done that, then you can go out and like tell your friends and tell your families, and like and tell them like, wow, this worked, like me dealing with my mental health and talking about it actually works. And maybe that's a great way to break the stigma.
Yeah, I mean, that's so powerful. And you're completely right. It absolutely begins from coming within.
Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned how you had those friends to help you through that. And I know that there's a lot of stigma just around going to therapy in general,
Yeah.
specifically for the male population because
Mhm.
of everything we've talked about before. And so your friends helped you through that. Can you kind of elaborate on what other like internal aspects help you kind of reach that
Yeah.
goal of breaking through that stigma and kind of reaching out and pursuing your mental health journey?
Yeah. One of the things was like you kind of wake up and you feel like you don't really want to do anything anymore when you start going through mental health issues. Like it's like you wake up and you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to do anything. And there are a lot of things like school, even hanging out with the people that you care about the most, even being with your family, you start hurting people that you care about and that you love. All these things, it starts kind of like taking a toll on you, and it starts like affecting you as a person, start affecting your daily routines. And one of the things that like I had to do personally is start journaling. Actually journaling helped me so much. When it helped me realize like, okay, well, like if I'm reading from an outside perspective, it shows like, wow, this person is down bad right now and he needs help. So it's like and I realized, wow, that's me, and like I need help. And it made me realize like when looking at it, like looking at something like that, like a journal, like then I'm like, okay, what are some things I can do? And looking at resources, like looking at talks, saying like, oh, like first go outside, like And going out for a walk, for example, like it helps you because it gets you out of a confined space and lets your thoughts kind of run through. And being able to journal, and process through what I was going through, process through my mental health journey. It kind of showed the improvement that I was going through, and that in itself was motivation enough to keep going on my mental health journey. So that was really helpful. Journaling was one of the big things in my life, and actually my friends told me to journal, so it was so
Nice.
it was from them. But yeah, so that's one of the things internally that helped me a lot, was journaling through it, and keeping track and seeing my progress. That helped my motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think journaling can help anyone. And thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that and how that
yeah,
helped
no.
you. I hope
Mhm.
that helps others out there as well. And so, just on a day-to-day basis for all of us to participate in destigmatizing this topic, what can we do? Like, what can all of us do on a day-to-day in order for this destigmatization to take place?
um it's not about normalizing mental health, but more about normalizing treatments of mental health. I think that is one of the bigger things, because mental health is not normal. It shouldn't be normal at all. It's not something that I want anyone to deal with. So I hope that that in itself isn't normalized, but the conversations about treatments, I believe, should be normalized. Sort of like counseling. The word counseling, it shouldn't have any burden of fear or have any burden of apart from hope and encouragement. And I think using those key words of mental health treatments, like counseling, like getting help, is really important, to incorporate in your daily vocabulary once in a while. And just saying oh, there's a cool counselor out there, something like that. And it's oh, if you need help, maybe you should go see counseling. Just kind of normalizing that, and just talking about it a little bit more to your friends, to your families. So I think that's something day to day that people can do. Obviously there's the posting on social media, there's all these things, but I think even then, that's not as impactful as just talking to your friends about treatment of mental health specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Mhm.
never thought of that distinction, and I think that's
Mhm.
so important. And
Yeah.
like normalizing mental health isn't the goal, because
Mhm.
yeah, we should move to a society where
Mhm.
like everyone has a healthy mind and
Mhm.
well-being. But normalizing those treatments, that's such a good point. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, no, thank you so much
Yeah, of
for
course.
sharing that
Yeah.
perspective. And is there anything you want to add to that, or anything about your journey, or anything at all, really?
I think the world is doing a really good job in kind of creating a space for open conversations. I think it's getting better and better. Um, and so I think people should be encouraged to see that. And even me, when I first coming from a developing country, mental health is not talked about at all. And it's actually a lot of people saying mental health is another way of saying you're lazy, for example. And it's that kind of stigma in developing countries. And I think one of the big goals that we should be doing is kind of transferring over what we do as talking about mental health, because here it's a lot better than it is in developing countries. And I think we need to be able to kind of push that over to developing countries, and help them support those, because there are a lot of women, a lot of children, a lot of men who in developing countries who don't have the time, who don't have the funds, who don't who are probably frowned upon when they talk about, hey, I think I have depression, I think I have this or this. And 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 it's no, you're probably lazy. So that kind of stigma, I think without we as a community who are so blessed to have to be able to seek treatment, to be able to openly talk about our mental health issues, we need to be able to transfer that over to developing countries somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's also so important. And this is obviously a loaded question and
Yeah.
it has deeper roots than
Yeah.
we know, but do you have any ideas of how we can start approaching that process?
Yeah. I think it's like one, like supporting um movements that are already doing that. Yeah, there are movements out there. Forgot I was just looking at one like a couple months ago, and like they started an open mental health talk in Africa, and like they started going around different villages, and they're like asking people like, what is mental health? And a lot of people don't know what mental health is, and it's crazy to see. It's because, and they're probably suffering from it, and they don't know what they're actually like going through. So it's really tough to see that, and I guess supporting them like in any way that you can. And another thing is like a lot of us, like Canada's really good at bringing in people from a lot of different communities around the world. Um, and it's about talking about your extended family, about mental health and like what that means. And I think like even that, like it's something a lot smaller, but it's just as impactful, right? It's because like you're reaching out to different aspects of the world from your own home. So like talking about your extended family, who's probably from, whether it be from Africa or China or anywhere around the world, right? Like they probably don't hear about mental health talk back in their home. So you like being that light and saying like, oh, this is what mental health is. I went through it. And if you're going through it, I want you to know that it's a real thing. And I want to support you. Doing that with your extended family, with your cousins and your grandma and your grandparents, like that's a massive part that you could take place in reaching out to developing countries.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, the world's so lucky to have individuals like you to start that ripple effect and make us all aware of how to like make the world a better place in that aspect. So again, thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you.
I have no other questions for you. So I guess we can end the interview there, unless you have anything else to add.
No, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.